Okay, so I have to, well, I don't have to, but I wanted to make this shirt. So I figured why not take you guys along with me? Let's talk about what we're doing, learn a little bit. So I created this design um, here. This is my fighter design. My paper size, I'm not really for sure. Let's just go with letter size for now. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're not going to worry about that right now. So what I'm going to do first is, well, let me, just because I like the little white background, I'm going to take my whole design and I am going to get it to the size that I want. So for my shirt, I tend to go about 10, 11. This one doesn't have to be that big, so 10 and a half will do. So because this design, as you can see, has different colors. So the black is there, then there's a light purple here, and there's a dark purple. I don't need to cut that. They all need to be cut out in separate colors. So what I'm going to do to save my vinyl is I'm going to ungroup my design and I'm going to remove the colors that I'm not cutting right now. So I'm going to start with the dark purple. So I removed the light purple. That's still grouped together. So let's ungroup that. And now I have two separate elements. You can see the box around element 1 and element 2, just to show you that you have two elements selected. We're going to go ahead and move the words out of it. Now when I made this design, I did do the knockout, hence this is why this was erased from the ribbon, so that I'm using glitter vinyl and you can't layer on top of glitter. So what I did was cut out the words so that it fits together like a puzzle. So they're not layered, but they give the appearance of being layered. So I am just arranging these elements onto my mat so that I can cut it out in my glitter vinyl. And I'm trying to save as much as I can. So I'm kind of nesting them together so that they can, use as less as possible. Now I'm going to tell my machine I have 12 by 12, even though I don't. I know the glitter is not that big, but I'm not exactly sure what size it is. I just have a sheet of glitter. And so what I'm going to do now, I do want to move it down a little bit from the top. When I'm not cutting with a mat, I just like to be safe because I have had it mess up where it tried to cut and it got jammed. So I like to move it down a little bit. It's not necessary, I mean, you don't have to, but that's just my personal preference. Now, I also like to, when I'm just cutting out a small design out of my vinyl, I like to do a little weeding box around it. It makes it easier for me just to get that little design out. So I just drew a box around it, just a random box, and I cleared the color. This, when I went over here, I was clearing the color from the box because I don't need the box color or anything. And like I said, I'm just putting this box around it so it makes it easier to weed. HTV, which is heat transfer vinyl, not really necessary. I use this technique more when I'm doing adhesive vinyl because what I can do is once it cuts and it cuts this box around it, I can weed up this one box and my design will be left. And then I can use my transfer tape to pick up my design and all of the rest of this vinyl will still be intact on the sheet so I can load the entire sheet back into the mat without having to cut out this square. Hopefully, if that makes sense to you. So with HTV, not really the same technique because you're going to have to cut the HTV. You can't weed it off the backing. You need the backing in order to press it. So now that I'm thinking about that, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of my box because I actually don't need it. And since I have this open, I probably should go ahead and cut my other design. Might as well cut them both at the same time. So I made myself a little shirt. Um, but I don't know what I called the shirt. So maybe that won't work because I have no idea what I named the shirt. So let's put that on the back burner. I'm gonna try one more time though. Let me look and see if I can find what I named it. Oh yeah, that's not it. Hmm. All right, guys, I'm not gonna keep you here. I'm gonna go ahead and pause really quickly, and then I'm gonna come back once I find whatever I called the shirt. One moment. Okay, so I finally found it. I was not gonna give up. I opened it in a new um, tab just because both of these files have a lot going on, so I kind of wanted to just have it nice and nice clean surface. So anyway, I'm going to take, so this is one of my shirts that I'm going to do. So we already talked about that one. So this is my other shirt that I want to make. So I'm going to ungroup it and I'm going to pull, again, this one is because I knew I was cutting it in glitter. It's a knockout design. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so I can see exactly what I'm working with. I ain't going to mean to go that far. All right here. Ungroup it again because each color should be separate. Those are the background colors. They also need to be ungrouped, but I'm not going to do that right now. I just want to get this one little purple color here. So I'm going to drag my mouse over and try to grab all of those purple colors. I probably should zoom in just a little bit so I can see and make sure I'm only grabbing the purple. This color right here, as you see, is in the yellow. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is hold down Shift and click it. That will deselect it. Same thing here, hold down Shift, deselect. And now you see the box is gone, so that means it is no longer selected. Same thing with this green, hold Shift, click it, hold Shift, click, hold Shift, click, and continue that process to, I held Shift too long. I got my little sticky keys to come up. So now the only thing that is selected is this purple box. Now I can just group this together, but because I know I want that purple to stay together, I'm going to make it a compound path. The way I did that was do Control E, which is my keyboard shortcut. You also could come to, let's see, Object, and then right here it's already grayed out, but you see Make Compound Path. Control E is the shortcut there. And what that did was just make it into one complete shape. So it doesn't need to be ungrouped or grouped. As you see, those are grayed out. So it's not grouped together. It's one shape in itself. So what I'm going to do is take this, I'm going to copy it, Control C is my copy. I'm going to go back to my other page where I want to cut it out, and I'm going to hit Control V as in Victor. So that, and even though there are two different colors, it doesn't really matter the color field that I use because they're still going to be cut out in the same one glitter sheet. But I did all of that and I forgot to size it. So what I'm going to do is undo. So that's Control Z is what I'm hitting on my keyboard. I'm going to go all the way back to when I first opened up the file. Uh-oh, I think I went too far. I might close the file. All right. So let's just make sure it's the right size before I start. So this is 7, and I know that I want it bigger than 7. So as I stated before, I like my designs to be about 10. Uh, to 10.5, close enough. So I want it this big. So let's do those same steps again. So I'm going to go in, ungroup, because each color you have to cut separate. You have to put different color vinyl in for every single color. So that's going to be one piece of vinyl. That's going to be another piece of vinyl. And then I'm going to zoom in And I'm going to ungroup these colors again and hit the ungroup button here. And now I know that there's a separate set of colors under here. So I'm going to click that separate set of colors and I'm going to drag it from under there. That's another group of colors. Now I need to get my colors so I can get each color separate. So once again, I'm going to highlight. I'm going to zoom in so that I can see. And we're going to do the shift select because I don't want any yellow. Shift select because I want to unselect the colors. This works too, like if I want to add a color. Like, so say I didn't get all the purple, and say this big box here was part of the purple. I can click shift and click on it with my mouse, and that would add to my selection. So it would uncheck it and check it. It would do whatever opposite it is already done. So again, I held down shift too long. My sticky keys try to pop up. So I'm going to make that a compound path because I don't want to have to keep doing that every time. So now this is just one shape. So again, did I get all of it? Nope. Undo, undo. I missed a piece. So let's go back. That missed that little bottom piece. So I'm going to control make a compound path. Now it's all together. It's not going to come apart. I don't have to ungroup it, regroup it. It is one solid element. So control copy, so control C. I'm going to now paste it. I'm going to delete that one and I'm going to paste it here. Now I know it's the right size for my design. So me trying to be cheap, I wonder if I can squeeze it right here, and then I would only use that little bit of vinyl. I'm going to try it and hopefully I don't regret it. I'm not using a cut mat. So cuts mat is selected to none. I have Cameo too. That's the only machine I have. And then I have this set for 1212, even though I know my paper is smaller, but it's going to pull from the right, not the left. So I'm okay there with telling my machine I have bigger paper. Ideally, you want to use the paper size that you actually have. I'm not this time just because I want to trick my machine into thinking I have a little bit more space than I do. That's just with me and, experience that I have with my machine, that works for me. So those are my colors. Oh, one more thing before we go ahead and cut it. I want to select everything. So I clicked up here and then I dragged my mouse down and around. I'll do it again. Click right here, drag your mouse to select all of the images. So you see there's a box around every element. That's what I want. I'm going to go to Object and Mirror because when you're cutting from heat transfer vinyl, it has to be mirrored. So I turned it so that now it is facing the correct orientation. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and send it to my machine. And it is ready to cut. Let me get my material loaded. So now I'm over here at my machine. Got my little puppy down there. He ready to help. I was using sketch pens, so we're going to go ahead and change that out. Take out the pen. And I am doing this with one hand, so excuse it if it's not. I think when I cut, I hope you just seen that. I'm loading my. So now I'm gonna get my vinyl, and as you see, it's not exactly 12 by 12. It's a little smaller. First, I'm gonna need to move my rollers. I will have to. Can't really do that with one hand. So hold on. You pull the little lever down. And you turn this so it pops out of the little holes there. And then you slide it down the bar. This is kind of difficult with one hand. gotta turn it again. It got stuck in the grooves. So I'm turn it so it gets out of the grooves. And then I slide it. And then turn it back so the little teeth pop back in the groove like that. And then go back and pull the lever up. And so now your material will fit under the rollers. You want your material to be under the rollers. Other than that, it won't catch. So over here, I'm going to hit load media. I'm going to reload that because it kind of went in sideways. And I want my material to be straight. So load media. And so now it's in there. As you see, both of the rollers is on. Up. I loaded the material upside down. Let's try it again. You cut on the back, not the side with the shiny side. That's why we mirror it. All right, let's try it again. Load media. It's not working with just one hand. Hold on, you guys. There we go. Now, so media is loaded. I'm gonna go back to my screen for a second. But this is ready to go. You want to make sure that if you put no cut mat on here, and you have to put load media. If you have a cut mat, then you have to say load mat. It's very important because what happens is the machine uses math to figure out where to cut. So if you say load cut mat and you don't have a cut mat, the machine is going to add extra inches to compensate for that cut mat that you don't have. So again, you want to make sure, same thing with the computer, you want to make sure that you match them at this. With the software, you want to match what you have. If you have the cut mat on the machine, on the computer screen, then you need to have it on the machine, because other than that, the math is going to be off. It's not going to be mathing like it needs to be. All right, going back to the computer screen. One moment. So we're here, and the only thing that I have to do here, well, not only thing, it's a couple of things. So right now, my machine thinks I'm trying to cut some cardstock, which is not true. And as you see, I have no cut mat here. You can also see, like I said, back here, I got my cutting mat set to none. So that's why I made sure I hit load media, not load cut mat. So I want to tell my machine exactly what I'm cutting so it can know what force and what speed would be best. Sometimes you have to make adjustments depending on how sharp your needle, how sharp your blade is, or your particular machine. You might have to, adjust as necessary. So you don't necessarily would do the same exact settings as mine. You would, you would do what works for you. So this one right here, it is suggesting that my blade be at a 3, and I'll show you how to do that. And then it gave me these. I normally keep everything like it is because I always do a test cut. And speaking of test cut, let me move my design over just a little bit because I like to do a test cut right up in that left hand corner. So I want to move my design so I don't accidentally do a test cut through where my design should be. So what I'm going to do first is switch back to the machine. And right now my blade is set on 5. I know that my blade is not the sharpest. I'm actually going to leave it at 5. And what I mean when I say set at 5, you see these numbers? The little red dot lets me know my blade is at 5. If I wanted to change it, I'll stick it inside this little lock key here, and I'll turn it. And then now it's at a 4. And the same thing, you put it back in and turn it. And like I said, this is an older blade. I did a lot of cutting with it. I probably need a new one. So I'm going to leave it at 5, and we're going to see how that cuts. So let's do a test cut. All right, we come over to the screen and we hit test. Once you hit test, you'll see it cut a little bit, and then we're going to hit unload. And then I'm going to see how well that cut. I'm gonna have to put you guys down though because I can't do it with one hand, but you can kind of see it looks like it cut pretty good. And then I just wanted to I'm gonna let's see if I can I gotta put you guys down. Hold on. All right, so as you see, it cut way too deep. It cut straight through the carrier, and we don't want that. We want the carrier to stay intact. I can't show you, but trust me, it cut all the way through. And that's not what we want. So my blade at a 5, it's probably too far. So we're going to drop it down to the suggested 3. And load it back. Alright, so this time when I do my test cut, I am going to test it at a different spot. I'm not going to test it at the same exact spot. I can move it by using the move tool, hitting the arrow, and as you see my material is moving. I hit test on my machine, on my computer, and do another test cut, and let's see. That's the first one. Second one, bear with me, y'all. Looks like it cut perfectly fine. So we're going to go with that. I'm going to get the machine loaded, and I'll come back once everything is loaded, and I hit start. So now I am hitting send. And it's asking me, do I want to send it as is or do I want to mirror it? So this is a little feature that that Silhouette came out with, and I think it's pretty cool. When you tell it that you're cutting with heat transfer, it gives you a little reminder and say, hey, did you remember to mirror it or do you want to do it now? Since we already mirrored ours, we're going to go ahead and send as is. And it's telling me that it's going to take me a minute. It's going to take 1minute and 8 seconds to cut this. So let's go back. So very loud, isn't it? Oh, I'm on set my machine. I don't know, that didn't help. All right, so that's all done. So now we got that all cut out. We'll go back to the design, and I'm going to cut out my second color. I'm going to delete this. You wouldn't normally delete it, but I'm not going to save anything I'm doing, so it's not going to affect anything. I have to remember to mirror these. So just so I don't forget, I'm going to go ahead and mirror my next 2 elements so they'll be ready. Mirror. And then I'm going to grab my other color from this one like we did before, because again, I'm cutting the same colors out for both designs. So for this one, I know that that's my purple. And as I stated before, this is grouped together, and you can see right here is allowing me to ungroup it. Now this one, because it's not so many pieces, is a lot easier to grab it. So I don't have to make it a compound path or anything. It's one whole element in itself. So I'm going to copy it, Control C. I'm going to go back over to my fighter design, unclick these because I don't want to mess that up. And then I'm going to hit Control V. I I hit Control V, but I meant to say I was going to right click and paste. Control V also does it, but I just wanted to show you multiple ways to do it. So again, I know my design is in the right size because I sized it first. I have to mirror this one because I didn't mirror this one yet. All right, so that one and that one is ready to cut. I am going to do a test cut, so I'm not going to put it right at the top. I'm just going to put them side by side. And I have already loaded my vinyl. Same steps. Again, I didn't change any of these. This piece is a 12 by 12 piece. This is heat transfer vinyl that I'm using. This is just rather regular smooth Caesar Easy Weed. I think it's lilac is the color that I'm using. So what I'm gonna do is change this from glitter to just put it at regular heat. And I can just scroll down, but to me it's easier for me to just search it. And I'm gonna put it heat transfer smooth. So my machine is telling me, hey, if you use a blade depth of 2, this should cut out for you. So I guess I can show you guys that one more time. So I'm back here at the machine. I'm going to change it from what we had it at first. We had it at 3. We're going to put it at 2. Put the blade back. Make sure it's all the way down. Close it. My material's already been loaded. I'm going to hit test. I'm going to unload. I'm going to look at my test. And it cut. And I just want to see, I'll go ahead and try to weed that little middle piece out, or weed one of them out to make sure. I'm going to have to weed it off camera. Give me a second. So that actually did not weed the way I wanted it to. As you see, the middle is still in there. So that means I don't have a good cut. And you can see where it's not coming loose. We don't want that. So I'm going to increase my blade depth because remember I told you that this is an old blade. 2 probably would have worked if I had a nice old sharp blade, but of course I don't. Alright, so I'm going to get this loaded and do another test. So I weeded out the second test. As you can see at the bottom there, you see that it's nice and smooth. It's not ripped or anything like that. The middle came away good from the outer square. Doesn't matter which one you weed, you just want to make sure that it'll come loose. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out and then we can go to weeding it. All right, so I'm back, you guys. I got everything all cut out and I'm gonna weed them. And just in case you guys are not familiar with the term weeding, it's just basically where you take the design and take all the unnecessary color off. So you're just left with only the design that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. And I can put that to the side. Because these are such weird designs, what I'm going to do is start from the outside of the design. And I'm going to weed that first. Normally when I have words, I like to weed the inside of the letters first and then the outside. But because it's, like I said, a different type of design, my knife is cutting through it. It's not lifting up the vinyl. I think I need a duller knife. Piece number 1. Same thing. Probably gonna fast forward through most of this. Trying to hold it at a good spot so that I can see what's supposed to be cut. This did not cut good. This is one that I did not do a test cut on. And this is why you should always do a test cut. Because it is pulling out pieces of the design that it should not. Some of it didn't cut. So I'll have to take my time when getting this one. Might come back to this one. Maybe not. Oh yeah. I wasted this whole piece because it did not cut apart. I also didn't realize it was stretch vinyl when I was cutting it. I have different settings. But if I would have did a test cut, I might have would have caught that.